Florida hands Auburn their first SEC loss of the season, defeating the Tigers 90-81 in Neville Arena. We react on this live edition of the Uptempo Podcast. Let's go. Good morning, Auburn family. Good morning, Uptempo gang. Dustin Smith and Blake Lane coming live with you guys. Another edition of the Uptempo Podcast. A little disappointing one, Blake, but I think it's one that we saw coming, right? You're not going to go undefeated in the SEC, and Florida comes into Neville yesterday and beats Auburn 90-81, and it really didn't even feel that close, man.
Yeah, I think this is something that you can look at, and it might be a good thing for the Auburn Tigers. I told you guys Thursday night, if you join the live show, that I'm not saying that we had to lose, but it can be a good thing sometimes because you can get knocked back to the drawing board. You can get knocked back to reality. Sometimes over this 14-game stretch, this 14-game winning streak, I felt like Auburn got a little too confident. I'm going to say confident because I don't want to say cocky, where they went on these runs of we're just flat out better than they are. And it looked like they were just kind of walking in motion, like just going through the motions of things. The LSU game really stuck out to me, where it was just like, hey, we're better. We're going to win this game off of pure athleticism. And there's nothing they can do about it. I was disappointed yesterday. And we're not crashing out on this episode because this is still the best team in the country, in my opinion. But that defense, especially in the first half, deserves criticism. And I feel like you got a little too confident, some call it cocky, over that stretch, and you had to get knocked back down to reality. I know somebody said the other night, well, we don't have to lose for that to happen. In order to face adversity, we can face it in game. Well, we faced it in game yesterday, and we responded. I mean, we kept cutting it. Look, the lead got up to, 21, 22 points? Yeah, and we cut it back down to 8 or 9. So we faced adversity. I like that part of it. But every time we cut it to single digits, Florida had an answer. And that answer was second and third chance opportunities on the offensive glass. Or us having a silly turnover, or us committing a silly foul, sending them 1-1 to the bonus. It was things like that where Auburn just wasn't locked in yesterday, and you got beat. So you got to go back to the drawing board. And I think it could be a good thing for Auburn, Dustin. Reset, man. Duke lost last night.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can be a good thing, man. Go back to the drawing board, reset. Let's see how you face these two road tests coming this week. This is going to show a lot about this team. You're at Vandy and at Bama. Tough week, all right? Me, I hope we go 1-1. Don't crash out on me for saying that. I'm just looking at where we got to go in the two teams we got to play. Obviously, I want 2-0, but I will take 1-1.
Yeah.
So, look, 1 versus 2 in the Iron Bowl of basketball. It's set up. Everybody wanted it. It's set up. It's there for the taking. If Auburn stays 1, that's fine. If Alabama moves to 1 and Auburn slides to 2, that's fine. Go snatch it from their ass. Go take it back from them. Make a statement. Bounce back from what happened yesterday.
Yeah, we talked about it after the Ole Miss game when we looked ahead at this stretch. Yeah. We all agreed. Me and you agreed. Everybody in the comments agreed. Auburn's not going undefeated. If you expected Auburn to go undefeated in the conference, especially this year in the SEC, it's just not. It's not realistic. Look, no one likes getting their ass handed to them at home.
Yep.
It's the second time in the last 3 games with Florida where they beat us pretty solid. We did get them where it counted. We got them in the SEC tournament last year, but they beat us pretty good last year in the regular season, and they handed it to us again yesterday. I think looking at the game in particular yesterday, the most disappointing thing to me is that if you tell me before any home game, Auburn's going to score 81 points,
It's a dub.
that's a dub, dude. That's a
Dub.
dub. But
Yep.
you gave up 90, and you gave up 90. I'm not going to say the effort was bad, but Bruce talked about it in the post game. Florida's effort was just more. Florida just they were after the loose balls more. They got those second and third chance. There was one, I would say about 5 or 6 minutes ago. We had cut the game down to single digits. Neville's kind of back into it. You feel like we're run. We force up a bad shot. We run them all the way down in the shot clock. We force up a bad shot with like a second left on the shot clock. They get a rebound. They throw up another miss. They get a rebound again. In the whole scramble of it, we leave a guy wide open at three, kind of theme of the night, and they bang it home. And that was kind of the dagger. And for me, I think it was execution. I haven't seen Auburn execute this poorly on the defensive end in a very, very, very long time. I felt like Denver was bad defensively. I don't ever say that. CBM was bad defensively. That's rare. They really struggled with communication. They really struggled with their rotations, especially on the perimeter, and it was leaving guys wide open. You saw early in the game, Florida tried a lot of backdoor cuts. They were doing a lot of cuts to the basket, and Auburn did a decent job of shutting that down. At one point, we were up 10, and Florida adjusted. Another thing Bruce Pearl talked about in the post game, he said Florida adjusted. He said, and we stuck with our game plan the whole time. And he took the blame on that. He said, I probably should have adjusted more. We got out coached. We got outplayed tonight. And so it is what it is, man. Look, losing at home sucks. Auburn doesn't do that often. And to your point of facing some adversity, and I like your tweet yesterday about hitting the reset button, because this team has earned our belief and our faith, and they've earned faith and belief that they have in themselves. And when it got to like 4 minutes to go, any other team, I'm looking at that and I'm saying this game's over. Florida's won. But I still wasn't ready to give up on Auburn. Like the fan side of me, the realistic side of me was like, this game's over, but that fan in me was like, oh, we can still do this. And it was really into like those final minute or two where, okay, there's no shot here. And I say that to say because probably this team on this 14-game winning streak, they probably have some of that going on too, and rightfully so. They've earned it, and you should always believe that you're going to win. But I don't know if overconfidence is the right word, but like you just need that reality check that there's levels to this. And Auburn's goal is to win a national championship, right? So when we look at Auburn's 2 losses, who are their 2 losses to? 2 of the better teams in the country.
Yeah.
And that should be the message if you're Bruce Pearl. Hey, you cannot play your best game at LSU and pull out a dub. You cannot play your best game versus South Carolina and you can pull out a dub. There's a lot of teams, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, good teams that you cannot play your best game against and still get a W. But if you want to win the national championship, you're going to have to bring it for all 40 minutes. There can't be lulls, and you can't have this game was over for Auburn the last 3 minutes of the first half.
Yeah.
That's where Auburn lost the game, in my opinion.
Yep.
And you can't do that versus these kind of teams. You can't dig yourself into this big of a hole versus Florida. This is the result because, Denver having 0 points or from the field anyway, and him and CBM only combining for single digits. Like, that's terrible offensively, but you still scored 81. That should still be enough in Neville. So I was just disappointed in the execution of the defense. And it's, again, I think the boys played hard, but Florida played harder. And you can't have that. So we got 2 losses on the schedule, Blake, to 2 very good teams. So big picture, I think that you can learn from it. And if you're Bruce, you're just telling them, hey, look, guys, you had a little lull in that Duke game, and it bit you. Florida kind of took it to you, but, you got down big. And then even though you fought in the second half and had some runs, you just got down so big. They're too good for that. Florida's too good for that. So the message for me is, hey, when you're playing these elite of the elites, it's got to be 40 minutes of good basketball on both ends, or you're not going to accomplish your ultimate goal of winning the national championship. You'll exit earlier than that if you play the way you played versus Duke or versus Florida, because there's Auburn's a great team, but there's other good teams out there, and we saw that yesterday.
Facts. That's the truth. Hey, I put a status out there. I think it's Auburn, Duke, Alabama. All right, top 3 up there. Those are my 3 best teams. But right underneath that, you have teams like Iowa State, Houston, Florida, Tennessee. Y'all, those, in my opinion, those are the elite teams in the country. Those are the teams that could celebrate to one shining moment. And Florida come in to Neville Arena and they punched you in the freaking mouth. For 40 minutes, they punched you in the mouth. We would blitz Clayton Jr. He would get rid of it, and we would have somebody napping.
Yeah.
We would have somebody napping, leaving shooters wide open. The dribble drive handoffs. We were over-rotating, getting beat. And Florida shot it like crazy. They went off. They weren't missing. They even had the kid from overseas come in sniping. I mean, they were just hot, y'all. They made 6 more threes than Auburn did. I think they shot 39% from 3. I forget what they were. I think Auburn shot 30%, 31%.
Let's see.
I know it's something like that. It's close to those numbers.
Yeah, field goals. Florida shot 48.4. Auburn shot 42.9. 3-point percentage. Florida was 13 for 33 for 39.4%. Auburn was 7 for 22 for 31.8. And then, Blake, the free throws. Florida was 15 for 18 for 83.3%. And Auburn was 14 for 23 for 60.9.
14 for 23, and you lost by 9.
Yeah.
Lost by 9. Nine free throws missed, and you lost by 9. And they hit 6 more threes than you. Defense was very poor yesterday in that first half. I thought it got better in the second half. I also think CBM played his worst game of the year. Denver struggled, and when those two guys struggle, it's a bad recipe for Auburn. And I think this was a bad matchup for Auburn. I'll give it to Condon and the other kid, number 10. Those 2 dudes can play. I think Condon is an NBA player. And Florida's, they always got a white, bro, that can just absolutely get buckets. Right? They went from Castleton straight to Condon, and they got a white that can give Auburn the business.
Even back in the day, even back in the mid-2000s, they always had somebody.
That's a fact, bro. That's a fact. So it's just a bad matchup for Auburn. And the physicality was there. And I'm not mad about it, man. Like, you cut that lead back to single digits. And to your point, I think Florida was up 8 in the play you brought up where they got the third chance opportunity. They got the third chance opportunity. They come down. Auburn plays great defense. Great defense. They put up a shot. They get the rebound. Y'all, right there was only about 3 minutes left in the game. 8-point game. Instead of Florida kicking it back out and wasting the shot clock, y'all, they hoist a 3. Right out the gate, they get the rebound, kick it back to the 3, and instead of draining the shot clock, they let one go. And he misses. And so you're like, okay, well, CBM's there. He'll get this rebound. Not a soul blocked out. Not a soul. Not a soul putting a body on a body. And old boy from Florida, he flies in, gets the offensive board, kicks it out. And who do you know is Will Richards sitting right there. He catches it. Bang. That's game right there. That's the game. When you let something like that happen, especially at home, it's a wrap. Because Neville Arena was rocking, and it immediately just flatlined. You could just hear everybody, oh. It's over. It went right back to double digits, just like that. Because you didn't box out, you were being lazy, you got punched in the mouth, and you let two guys walk into your paint and dominate you, bullied you. Condon gave Broom the business, bro. I mean, he's the first guy this year that I really looked at it and was like, hey man, he's not scared of Janai. He's down there to bang with Janai. Now, granted, Janai, he put up a double-double. He's going to do that. But he gave Janai problems. We missed a lot of bunnies around the rim, bro.
A lot.
And we've been doing it for multiple games. We got to finish some of this. Like, Cardwell, there's some opportunities for some flushes at the rim, and we're trying to lay the ball off glass, dog. Like, we got to get strong in there and flush that thing home. It's that's the aggravating side of it. I'm not, like I said, not crashing out. I still love this team, still think they're the best team in the country. But there's some criticism to definitely be thrown around and say, hey, that was piss poor effort yesterday, Dustin.
Yeah, I think the main thing. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. All I was just going to say is this team is better than what they showed yesterday, and everybody knows that.
Yeah.
And to see Auburn, like you said earlier, to see Auburn get just kind of pushed around at home, I think that's the more upsetting part. I think that's what people are more aggravated about, is you didn't see it coming in Neville Arena, right?
Yeah, they did 90s night, and they played like it was 90s Auburn. There
you go.
Yeah, this was a throwback game. I don't think it was a throwback the way y'all intended it to be. I thought about this late in the game, Blake, the point that you always make about guard play. And this was a March style matchup. This is a team that you could play in the Elite Eight, or you're going to play teams of this caliber in the Elite Eight, in the Final Four. And you will not win those games, as Blake has said since we started doing this podcast, if you don't have good guard play.
Facts.
And Denver Jones last night was terrible. So you can get away with that kind of stuff in a lot of games. And you might even, if Auburn gets the number 1 seed, all that kind of stuff, and come March, you can maybe get away with it in the first round, maybe even the second round. Probably not at that point, but maybe you can. You might be able to get out the first weekend, but you're not going no further than that. This team's not accomplishing its goals if Denver Jones plays like that yesterday. And for me, the offense will come and go. I mean, you want it to be more go, but it's going to, you're going to miss sometimes, and that's whatever. Shooters are going to have bad nights.
Mm-hmm.
I'll continue to say for Denver, though, on the offensive end, I just feel like when he's struggling, he goes further and further away from the basket. And I think it needs to do the opposite of that. You need to get to the basket when your shot's not falling. They'll foul you. You're a good free throw shooter. Yesterday be damned. You're going to make your free throws. It's all going to work out. It feels to me like he takes more difficult shots the more his misses start to pile up. And that's not the right route, especially when he has the layup package and the ability to go left or right and get to the hole. So I hate that. But it's defensively. It's defensively for me where it's like, nah, man, got an expectation for you, got an expectation for Chad Baker-Mazara as a long, lengthy defender. And those guys did not defend the perimeter yesterday worth a damn. And they're better than that. I think this Auburn team bounces back. I said this yesterday on the War Report post game with C-Dub. I'd hate to be Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
I'd hate to be Vanderbilt, and I know that inevitably somebody's going to get into the comments and say, you guys need to chill out. Oh my God, calm down. Like Blake said, I think this is the best team in the country. Janai Broom still National Player of the Year. I think Auburn's fine. I agree with Blake 100%. Just want to go 1-1 this week. Want to go 2-0, obviously.
Yeah.
But if you split, all good. We're looking at the big picture. We're going to have the big picture with this team because national championship, Final Four run, that's the goal. So everything that we talk about and the way we view this team is going towards that. And we just have to be realistic, man. I think whoever wins this conference will at least have 3 losses. Maybe, like 4 might be where you get kind of knocked out of winning the SEC regular season title, but I think the winner will at least have 3. So Auburn got their first one. I expect this team to bounce back. I would really hate to be Vanderbilt. And, Auburn won some of these games in this 14-game winning streak where they probably maybe shouldn't have won based off the way they play. They just out-talented teams. And when you get in that kind of situation, kind of like what we saw with Alabama football for so long, right, where they just feel invincible. Yep. Like you just feel like they're going to pull it out. They're going to find a way. Now this Auburn team can go back to the drawing board and say, you know what? We're not just always going to pull it out. If we don't show up to play versus these elite teams for 40 minutes, and Blake, anytime that Auburn has 3 fast break points, we are in trouble. And the reason that you see Florida with 90, I know it seems weird, but hear me out. It correlates back to that stat because Auburn did not create havoc. You allowed Florida to get into their half court. We allowed Florida to set up their ball screen. We were just half a second off. We were just half a second slow yesterday for whatever reason that it was. I think a lot of it was good coaching, Florida having a good plan, knowing how to attack Auburn on both ends of the court. But Florida gets in their half court. They come in, they set up the initial ball screen, and then they run their stuff off of it. And it just seemed like where an Auburn normally forces in that situation, we're normally up on the ball. We're normally forcing you into havoc, especially at home. And when Auburn goes in offensive lulls, you've always seen Bruce Pearl turn up the defense. And then it leads to fast break. There's Dylan on the trailing, lob back to Dylan. Boom. He dunks it. He's blowing kisses. Neville's going crazy, right? It just didn't happen yesterday.
Yeah.
They just played the game at their pace. They didn't allow us to ever get it running and gunning and doing our thing. So yeah, man, it's disappointing in the moment, but there's lessons that this team can learn from it and build from it for sure. So I think in the long run, big picture wise, this loss could be a good thing.
Todd Golden said that in one of their huddles yesterday when he was mic'd up. He said, hey, get the ball, get out in transition. Auburn's struggling to get back.
Yeah.
They're struggling. They're having a hard time. They're having a difficult time getting back on defense. I thought one of the biggest momentum plays yesterday was when Cardwell got beat on the inbound pass, the home run ball where he kind of tripped. That Auburn was applying pressure. It was in the second half. They were trying to cut that lead down, and they went on a little run, and Auburn brought everybody up, forcing the press, and Cardwell was last man back. They go home run ball. He kind of tripped up a little bit, got back on his feet, and they made a bucket. And I was like, damn, it just ain't our day. It just ain't our day. Now, y'all, please don't get mad at me for saying this. I love each and every one of you, but I'm about to say something looking into March. And this is something that hurts me. And I've mentioned it multiple times about Denver having to play point. And I think he's done phenomenal. All right, he's playing out of position. I think he's done phenomenal. Yesterday, bad game. That's fine. Crumble it up. It happens. Throw it in the trash. But losing LeBaron Filan was extremely difficult. And watching this game yesterday, losing LeBaron hurt, y'all. It hurt. Because he is an elite ball handler. He's a creator. And he is a true point guard. He's a true facilitator. And having a guy like LeBaron on this team would have been no doubt national championship if LeBaron is on this team.
Replace him with Pegues?
Yes. I mean, it would have been like we might not lose another game if Barron was on this team. And then watching him, obviously play for them across the state, that's just the thing that hurts, is because he's that true point guard. It's not a knock on Denver. Just Denver's playing out of position. And he's just not, how do I say this? He's just not as quick as LeBaron at creating and things like because it's not his position, right?
Yeah.
That's not his game. But what he's done has been phenomenal for Auburn, sliding to the point and playing it because we missed on a guy. I just think Denver had an off night yesterday, right? It happens. I mean, that's part of basketball, man. Dudes are going to have off nights. Hey, look, if you want to throw shade at somebody for having an off night, go look at Cooper Flagg last night. Yeah, I know he filled up the stat sheet at the end of the game, but boy, for about 32 minutes out of that game, my buddy was 2 for 11 from the field with 4 points. And he was struggling. And at the end of the game, he got the ball with a chance to tie or win. And I know the court was wet and he slipped and everything, but he struggled last night. And it's basketball. It happens. You're going to have off nights. Duke went down just like we did. That's college basketball. But man, knowing that we had LeBaron Fallon in the bag and we couldn't close it out, and now he's playing for that other team across the state, that one hurts. Truly hurts. Because, man, when I watch Walter Clayton Jr., that kid's a star. Yesterday, he had multiple logo threes, and he was like, hey, you can have all of them because I'm going to keep shooting. The way he facilitated the basketball to Will Richards and the way they get Condon going down in the block, man, and they're good. Florida's good, Dustin. They got a lot of weapons, bro. I just love watching. Guard play is college basketball. It's what wins college basketball. You even look at UConn the last 2 years, man. Yeah, they had Klington down in the paint, and he was banging down there and getting boards. But what was their thing? It was guard play, man. They had big physical guards that could go get a bucket. It's what wins natties, man. And like I said, it sucks to wake up this morning and be on the losing side of it, but it's been happening to a lot of other teams in college basketball. Iowa State, they've been on a skid. I still think they're one of the best. Tennessee got a little rocky there for a minute. I still think they're an elite basketball team. Florida got beat by 20 last week by Tennessee. I still think they're one of the best. It happens, man. Losses happen. So Auburn's going to bounce back, and that trip to Nashville, hopefully it's a good one, because I know the last time we went up there, it wasn't so fun.
Yeah, it's a fact. There are good coaches in this league. Like Bruce isn't the only one.
Yeah.
And they're going to watch film, and they're going to come up with good game plans sometimes. It's going to happen. Let's get to some of you guys' comments before we get out of here. Before we do that, man, please smash that thumbs up button. Sub to the channel if you have not already. Please share this out on social media. Devin says, disappointed that we lost at home. That's the only thing. Absolutely. You never want to lose at Neville. Packed arena, big-time matchup, all that kind of stuff. It sucks. It is what it is. Not going to win every game at home. Auburn was on one hell of a streak. EPW says Florida played with a sense of urgency. Auburn did not. Yeah, I think Auburn played hard. I just think Florida played harder. Like they got after it a little bit more than we did. Daniel says at least the first loss wasn't to Bama. Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. That's just you never want to give them one more thing to add on to. But, I don't want to lose to them at all. I'm definitely got to get that sweep this year. Jeff says they shot it well, and we didn't. They played harder, and their point guard controlled the game, lost by 9. Just need to regroup and go 2-0 this week. War damn Eagle up tempo. Hey, we appreciate you, Jeff. And I agree with everything you said. Yeah, I mean, going 2-0 this week would be great. Like Blake said earlier, if we split, it's not the end of the world. This is a very tough stretch. Daniel says it's baseball week. Let's go. Let's go. Hey, this is Blake's favorite time of year. I'm sure Blake is cooking up some stuff for you guys. And Blake, if they want to get some exclusive baseball content, what do they need to do?
Man, become a member, y'all. $3.99 a month for JV Squad. You can see right there on the left side of your screen what we offer. $5.99 a month for the Varsity Squad. Recruiting update videos, Dustin hammering those out. I know I got to drop one that he did here shortly. Game day group chat, it's always popping. Gameplay with you. Get up with Dustin, me. We'll play a little Xbox, whatever. Hate it for you PlayStation folks because y'all were down all weekend, but Xbox would never. And watch the film. We do multiple watch the films, and I got a little something for Auburn baseball. I know we got some games this weekend, and we'll get in there and we'll break some things down, some ABs, some Ike Irish ABs, Cooper McMurray, whoever gets hot for the Auburn Tigers, man. And y'all join us, and we thank every one of you who have joined and become a member. We're growing each and every day, and it's been a fun ride, man. Even after losses, getting on here and talking to y'all and having a good time, man. It's been fun.
Yeah, sign up, guys, and all y'all that already are. We do love you. We do appreciate you. We're going to keep banging out this content for y'all. Got a few more comments, and then we're going to get out of here. I am really excited for this baseball as well, man. Brett says, War damn family, did the sun come up today? Yes, it did, brother. Yeah, yes, it did. That's the beautiful thing about basketball is you can lose some games and you can keep going. It's not like football where every loss is literally the end of the world. And I think, and not you, Brett, I know you know, but there are some people in our fan base scrolling through the social medias yesterday, Barn Burner 17 and all these kind of idiots. That that just losing their mind, dude. It's over. It's over. Oh my God. Oh no. I mean, I got in an argument with people last year after the Mississippi State game because they wanted to fire Bruce Pearl. So let's just hey, we're good. And Brett. Sun came up. I tend to agree with Blake, man. As far as this could be, you won 14 games in a row. You need a reality check, and also it's just the law of averages, man. Like, I don't really want Auburn to be going into the big dance on like a 9-game win streak because you know what I mean. Like it's just you can get hot too quick, kind of thing.
So you remember last year, Alabama lost in the SEC tourney, and then bang, they went on their run in the NCAA tourney. I'm not saying it can happen, bro. Like you can get hot and win 14, 15 in a row. That's awesome. But like last year, you got hot in the SEC tournament. Everybody was like, oh, Auburn's going to win the national championship. You started reading the press clippings. You went in there to yell, and you got waxed. I don't know. I like losing a couple games. Everybody, I know there was somebody on Twitter yesterday. I can't remember who it was, but they were like, I don't believe in having to lose games. I don't want to lose, but sometimes you need to lose. Do y'all remember Kentucky and Coach Cal with D-Book and all those cats? I think Cat was on that team and all that, where they went undefeated, and everybody was like, "Oh, they're going to the championship," and they got to Wisconsin in the Final Four, and they had to face some adversity in a close game, and they got beat. They crumbled because majority of their games that year weren't close. And I think if you have a couple of losses on that resume and you know what it feels like to lose, maybe, just maybe, you make an extra play in that game to win that game. That's what losing can light a fire under your ass to get you back mentally motivated to say, hey, that ain't happening again. We're not getting punched in the mouth like Florida punched us in the mouth. It's not happening again. That's what sometimes losing can bring that out of you. And it takes for you to get humbled sometimes. Because, look, y'all, I love when CBM is going through it and he's getting into people's heads and all that. But sometimes it can come back on you. And when teams start giving you that business and they start, putting their tongue out in your face and all that, it can backfire, right? They fight fire with fire. And Florida, Condon was talking trash yesterday. Condon was letting Auburn know, hey, we're not scared of you, dog. You can do all your antics and all that. We're not scared of you. And so I love it, but sometimes you got to get humbled a little bit. You got to get knocked back to reality. And I'm okay with it. I said it all game yesterday. Not panicking. It's fine. Auburn will be fine. I think the past 2 years with UConn's dominance, guess what? UConn lost games, y'all. They lost games. And they had the best roster the last 2 years in college basketball. And they lost games. So it is what it is. It's going to happen. If you thought Auburn was going 18-0 in conference play, I don't know what to tell you. I saw a Auburn podcast that said that Auburn's not losing at home. It's just not going to happen. There's no way Auburn loses inside the jungle. And I looked at that schedule and I said, I don't know, man. It's kind of tough. Like, I wouldn't say that just yet. The
Yeah.
SEC basketball is hard, y'all. It's the best conference in the country for a reason. So you got to go. You got to, Bruce and the boys got to get back to work. And a thing, Dustin, I know I circled the comment up there. The thing about Trey or Filing. Look, either one, your daddy. Either one, man. Like Trey Donaldson. A matter of fact, I sent something to Dustin on TikTok the other day where I saw this Auburn edit, and it was Trey Donaldson missing the free throws at the end of the Yale game, right? And first comment said, yeah, Auburn will go far this year because Trey Donaldson's not on the roster. And I said, well, I would rather have Trey Donaldson over JP Pegues.
That's a fact.
And he said, well, your take is irrelevant because JP Pegues doesn't even play. And I said, you just proved my point. Like, JP Pegues doesn't play because he's not up to this level. And he's a step slow. And he just didn't fit what Auburn was trying to do. So his minutes got cut. Trey Donaldson was playing for your team and was providing a spark for your team when Aiden Holloway was struggling. Trey Donaldson, you made a great point last year, is Trey Donaldson was basically dead at the end of that Yale game because of what he was having to do because of Aiden. So, yeah, I would love Trey Donaldson back on this roster. It hurts not retaining him. Either one, man. I like Filing. I know he doesn't fill it up offensively, but the way he passes the basketball, man, and he sees the court is phenomenal. I watched the kid for years in high school. He's from Mobile, and he's just an elite ball handler. Trey, loved him. I think he did great things for Auburn last year. He's doing great things for Michigan now. Either one. But it doesn't take away the fact that we miss from JP, and Denver's out of position, and he's having to play point sometimes. And yeah, he struggles sometimes, and that's fine. It doesn't, I take either one, Dustin.
Yeah, I hear you. Do you definitely think that maybe yesterday, late in that second half, that's the kind of game that Trey can come in and kind of settle everything down, and you can get set up and run your offense? He was really good at that and facilitating. And I would love to see Trey Donaldson with this arsenal of shooters, right? Like he having all these shooters around him.
Yeah.
It would be fun. So, and then, yeah, I remember the day that Auburn, that LeBaron Fowler committed to Auburn. I drove up there to Mobile, watched him versus your high school in Cottage Hill. He absolutely went off. He dropped a 50-piece on him when an overtime dub, was getting triple teamed. And ultimately, he ends up going to Bama, not Auburn. So that was tough. But yeah, either one of them would be great.
Yeah.
Daryl says, tough loss, but still a very good team. Yesterday was an anomaly, and we still got back within 10. That said, I think we sweep Bama, in my opinion. Hope you're right on that Bama tape, brother. I hope you're right on that one, Daryl. That'd be sweet, man. That'd be sweet. And listen, I don't do the trolling shit, and you guys know that. But let us sweep them. Let us sweep them. And I'm gonna talk now. I'm gonna talk. I got a lot of bookmarks, but I'm a scoreboard kind of guy. I'm not the guy that's gonna be on social media when Bama loses to Ole Miss, going, couldn't be me. Because I know that down the line, Auburn's going to lose in a day that then Alabama's going to win, which is exactly what happened. And that is just it's retarded to me. I'm not going to engage in it. But yeah, let us get them. Let us get them. I hope you're right, Daryl.
You better defend the three ball a lot better than what you did yesterday.
Whew.
Tell you that, because Alabama can shoot that thing. And I just want to say, I got told that I was an absolute idiot for saying earlier in the year that Alabama was one of the best teams in the country. And people, I know y'all, look, we love Auburn. We love them with all our hearts. But I'm not going to sit here and deny, and just because I love Auburn and say Alabama ain't one of the best teams in the country. I don't want them to be, but I got to face reality because they are. They're one of the best. And I hate it. But sometimes you got to give props, man. Like, you got to say, hey, this is great for the state of Alabama. We're about to have 1 versus 2 next Saturday in Coleman Coliseum. 1 versus 2, Alabama and Auburn. This ain't football. This is basketball. This on the hardwood, dog. This is great. This is great for the state of Alabama.
It's going to be the biggest regular season game in the history of both programs, probably, right?
Game day. Game day's there. What else could you ask for?
Great.
I love it, man. We're going to bounce back. We're going to be all right, and it's War Damn Eagle from here, man.
Absolutely. Michael with a great point. He says missed free throws and also a recipe for an early exit in March. We've seen that before, haven't we, Michael? When they foul Carwell, it's an automatic turnover because he's terrible from the line. Yeah, Dylan's got to get better. He's got to get better. He's got to. I mean, at least he's at least got to get to 50, dude. Like I got to at least think that you're going to hit one out of the two. You at least got to be able to knock in that first one. So yeah, I hear you, Michael. We got to be better overall. I mean, I know Dylan struggled overall throughout the season. We've been a good free throw shooting team. Yesterday, shooting that bad from the stripe at home, it was weird. Seeing some of the guys that were missing them were weird. I don't expect that again. But yeah, Dylan, I do agree with your point there. Sometimes if you foul him, it's like you said, it can just be an automatic turnover, or we're not getting any points. Devin, I see Devin says he's going to the baseball game coming up this weekend in Arlington. Got reserved seats behind home plate and going to be on the field for warm-ups and the national anthem. So excited. That's awesome, Devin. Please be sure to take plenty of pictures, show everybody in the group chat, share with us and all that. Really excited for you and excited for Cooper McMurray's bounce back year. Irish revenge tour, man. I'm excited for this baseball team.
Miss Devin, get up with me and we will link up. I don't know if I'll be there for the Friday game. I got some things I got to work out with my daughter and all of that stuff. So I don't know if I'll make it for the 3 p.m. Friday game. I wish we were playing at 7 p.m. But that's how it goes. But hopefully I can get out there to Arlington. I got my rooms booked and all that. I just got to work something out for that Friday thing. So. But the one I really want to see is happening Saturday, Oregon State in Arlington, I believe it is. I think that's going to be a primetime matchup, man. I'm excited for baseball, Dustin. I think we're going to bounce back, man. There's a lot of potential in this freshman class, and we'll probably do a little video coming up this week, and I'll try to get a guest on to see what they can say and what they got for a preview show, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I'm going on a little vacation here at the end of the month. And then after that, when I get back in town, definitely going to be headed up to Auburn for all the home series or most of them anyway, and getting you guys the coverage and doing all that stuff as well. So we're excited. We wanted to do all that last year. And we started off going up to the games and having a good time and all that. And as the baseball season wore on, I don't think anybody really wanted to, we didn't win a SEC series for like 2.5 months. Nobody wanted to really talk about it. So hopefully this year, man, it goes a little bit differently and they win some games and we can pump some baseball content out for you guys. We're about to get out of here. I wanted to get to Ronnie because Ronnie, you only show up at certain times, brother. Ronnie says, did y'all notice after I said something last week how easily Broom is pushed around down low? I guess the excuse for the rest of the year is he's playing injured. You're really simplifying what we said in your response. Did not say that Janai Broom's issues defensively or any issue he was having was solely because of injury. You were on here directly after the injury saying people were dropping 30 on his head. We looked it up. It was after the Ole Miss game. You said somebody dropped 30 on his head. Well, that was the point guard for Ole Miss that dropped 30 and Janai's power forward. So 30 didn't get dropped on Janai's head. That's what we said to you. And what I also noticed, Ronnie, is that I didn't see you after nobody for Oklahoma went off. You didn't come in here and say nothing then. So if this is going to be one of your things, man, where you're like picking and choosing spots and kind of coming here.
I think I know who this dude is.
Yeah, I think he's kind of a weirdo, man. Janai is not going to have sex with you and your weird obsession with him is kind of creeping me out. So move on, big dog. You're going to be okay. All right.
He's just a Bama fan, bro.
Yeah.
What better than on a Sunday morning you watching an Auburn podcast? And what's crazy to me is you say, little brother, and you're trash, but bro, for little brother to stay in your head like we do is crazy. A team that's 5-7 in football to stay in your head as much as we do is crazy. And I know, hey, look, you hate that Auburn is number 1 in the country, and hey, Goodman come out and said they need to stay number one, and that's going to be crazy Monday after you've been talking all this ish, and Auburn stays one. So it is what it is, bro. Get in here and troll. I can think of a million other things I'd want to be doing on this Super Bowl Sunday than be watching an Alabama podcast, because you won't see it from me. I can promise you that. I can tell you one. Look, I love Clint Lamb. I think he's great. I think he's awesome. His coverage, all that good stuff. But I ain't about to go click on my TV and watch Clint Lamb on a Sunday afternoon talk about Alabama's dub at Arkansas last night. So that's just, I think it's weird. I don't know.
The only Alabama podcast that I have ever watched was the day after the Vanderbilt game. I just had to see. I had to see what was going on. Okay. I had to see. I saw a particular podcast had like 70,000 views. And I was like, it was a reaction show from a Bama channel. And I was like, I think all of us as SEC fans are interested in this one. We just want to see, because it's been 20-something years. But other than that, man, yeah, like I said earlier, I'm not living on this thing where I'm going like, I was not on the Ole Miss on the Alabama podcast after the Ole Miss game saying, yeah. And here's the thing too, man. Here's the thing too. Okay. If Bama beats Auburn, this coming Saturday, I'm going to give Bama their credit. But boy, Ronnie, if you won't be here.
Yeah, he won't show up.
Because you're a clown. But, you know.
Hey, I don't listen to Paul Feinbaum that much. But boy, I had to listen to him after that day. All right.
Hey.
Just look. I know we
legend,
suck.
Boy, old legend was struggling.
I know we suck right now, and that's fine. But hey, I had to listen to my boy Paul and legend. That legend, he said, man, this is about as bad as coming home early from work and finding another man in your bed with your wife. And he said, I ain't never felt like this, Paul. All right, that right there, that made my day. That made my day. All right, because them New Mexico State jokes, they hit like freaking crack that day, son. They hit so hard. All that Pavia trash talk. Oh, y'all can't beat Diego Pavia. And then, boy, he comes in here and waxes, all right? That's the only time it's ever happened for me. That's it. I just, I don't know. I don't get off on going to other teams and listening to podcasts and stuff like that. It's just weird to me. But hey, we appreciate you coming here and talking trash. Like
engagement.
Yeah, man. Janai Broom, everybody wanted to get on his freaking ass yesterday and say, oh, Janai, it was always Cooper Flagg. And then Cooper Flagg comes out with a shitter last night. And look, I know you want to talk trash and I know you want to be funny and all that, but I don't get it. It's best college basketball player, not best NBA prospect. And I've said that multiple times. So you can come in and you can throw your shade at Broom and say he fakes injuries. Look, I had a couple dudes on Facebook the other day. They said, Janai Broom milked the hell out of that rolled ankle. All right, first off, I know for a fact you didn't watch the game. Okay. Second off, I see you and you don't have ankles. So you don't know how it is to actually roll one. So don't get on my comment section and comment anything, because I know you've never played a second of organized basketball. You haven't even played in church league. So for you to get on here and say that he's milking a rolled ankle, bro, his ankle was on the floor. His ankle was literally touching the hardwood. So don't get on my stuff talking about what a rolled ankle feels like, because you don't know. You don't know. So that's another thing is like, I don't get on here and say, well, Mark Sears does the head bob and to draw contact. And I know I think Mark Sears is a great player, but if you're going to talk shit about Janai Broom, then let's talk about Mark Sears and the drama with him crying on the bench and mommy making a Facebook post and saying that it's BS that he didn't get to play and all that. Like we could do that, but we don't. So it is what it is, man.
Yeah, Blake, you played college baseball. You know how it is, dude. This is why you don't ever hear me criticizing like people arguing with the refs, and I don't like, because when you're in the moment, when you're playing the sport, you legitimately think like a bad call was made, and then you might go back and watch film and be like, "Oh, I did touch that ball, man. It did go out of bounds." But you're competing, you're trying to win. So in the moment, like, yeah, you think every call is a bad call and going against you. And then as far as the injuries go, man, if I stub my toe walking out of the room when we get done here, I might grab my foot and yell. And in that moment, you could take a picture of my face and go, oh my God, look at Dustin. He's acting like he's dead because he stubbed his toe. Like, shut up. It hurt. It hurt. What do you do when you're in pain? You make a face of pain. Like, and we live in this internet world where it's screenshot, and then you can upload it, and it doesn't have to have any validity. It doesn't have to make any kind of sense. And it'll get 1,000 likes. I mean, the Cal situation with the football, it taught me so much about social media.
Yep.
And it's why, if you guys see me, like, I'm not really interacting as much. Like, that situation taught me so much about, me and Blake said it. Auburn sucks. Auburn can go 5-7, 6-6.
Yep.
Cal sucks. Cal can go 6-6. Got blown up. Damn near 1 million views. When we ended up being right, those tweets didn't even get 200 views. No one came through and said, they just blocked us.
Yeah.
They just blocked us or said, like, oh, you got big ears. Like, okay. So yeah, dude, it's stupid out there.
Dustin, I can tell you this with the whole, another thing yesterday that was brought up about Janai always talking to the refs and Janai this and Janai that. So obviously Janai felt like he was getting hacked. He felt like there was contact, right? Yo, so there's a leash in college athletics when you talk to officials, all right? And when Janai says, hey, he hit me, people automatically look at that and they're like, oh, he's a whiny baby, he's a tit, all he does is complain to officials. No, what he's doing is he's pointing out, like, hey, the next time back down the court, watch for this. He's on my forearm. Watch for this. It's not him crying saying, hey, you should have called that. Janai is pointing out, hey, watch, he's got my jersey. Watch for that. He's on my forearm. Watch for that. It's when I played JUCO baseball. All right. If a blue, if he was calling outside corner and I felt like a ball was a little off the plate, I would turn back. I'd say, hey, time. And I'd step out and I'd say, hey, like, where are we at here? Are we going a couple inches off the plate outside? Like, what's the zone looking like? Because you want to get a feel for how they're calling the game. It's not just because everybody's whining to the officials. That's all they're doing is you ask. You say, hey, Tom, let me ask you something real quick. Are you calling it out there? Are you going to stay there the whole game? Because then that lets me know, hey, I need to protect with 2 strikes because he might call that one pitch that's on the outer half a little off the plate. You gotta understand how officials are calling games. So then you know if he's going to call that or not. And I think that's where some people, they get frustrated with Janai and sometimes CBM. Like the other night, they tried to blow the whole CBM thing out of proportion. Y'all, they were laughing at each other, and CBM was just basically saying, hey, this is what I did, man. There wasn't anything wrong with what I did. Like, this just happened. And they were laughing back and forth at each other, and people thought that CBM was talking trash to the official. That's not the case. There's legitimate conversations with officials in game that happen. Now, you leave the arguing to Bruce. Like, let Bruce argue with the official. The players, not so much, man. So I just wanted to fit that little tidbit in there, that it's not always whining and crying to officials.
Yeah, and if the body language looks a little demonstrative, it's just because you're amped up. It's just because the juices are flowing. It's a high intensity situation. So you might be telling the official, hey, man, what are you calling right here? And it might, from the viewer you watch on TV, you might see a guy being like, and all that, but he's not really being disrespectful. He's
just saying,
there,
watch
man.
it.
Yeah, he's there. He's 10 out of 10. I mean, he's on the court and there's thousands of people and millions watching on TV. He's amped up. It's a high intensity situation. So yeah, for sure, man. And we got Vanderbilt Tuesday night, 6 p.m. is tip off time. So
Yep.
Me and Blake will work it out. Obviously, we'll have no live show in the middle of the game. Well, just follow us on social media, and we'll let you guys know when we're going to do our live show next week. I would assume maybe Wednesday or something like that. But we'll keep you guys informed. Please smash the thumbs up button if you haven't already. Thank you all for joining us. I know we don't like losing, but
It happens.
It happens, man. This basketball team is going to be okay. We'll bounce back Tuesday in Nashville. I got a good feeling about it. So, Ward and Meagle, we'll catch you guys next time, man. We're out of here.
We're down, baby.